Alright, last but not least, Reddit. Gotta love it, right? Because, hey, why not? And Ben is going to actually tell us how to use it for the B2B marketing purposes. Go for it, Ben!
Hi, how y'all doing? Glad you stayed for the end of the show. I promise I'll try and keep this interesting. Here we go. Alright. About me, yes, that's real hair. I was born in New York, not my fault, I promise. I came here when I was 8. I've been doing marketing for 12 years, married, was 2, Jack the dog. I love eating pizza, more than that, I love making pizza. Yesterday I was up till 2, 3 at a barbecue with friends. I love food. What is Reddit? If you're not familiar, if you are familiar, great, bear with me. If you're not familiar, Reddit, first of all, is social media. They try and pretend that they're better than that. They try and say they're not. Reddit is social media and it falls in that category as far as everything is concerned. Reddit is also a major fount of information. Reddit is basically what feeds LLMs. You've seen the examples of Google using Reddit data and telling people that if they're suicidal, they should, yes, try jumping off a bridge. Don't do that. Reddit is also the most honest feedback you'll ever receive on the internet. Reddit, because it's anonymous, because you can create a username without even needing to share an email, they will tell you straight up to your face where you're wrong, why you're wrong, and why you should go kill yourself. So again, don't do that. Because of this, Reddit is actually one of the best places where you can market efficiently, effectively. You've got an audience that is massive. You've got an audience that knows what you're talking about. You've got an audience willing to share. And you've got an audience that is ready to hear what you're trying to say if you say it right. A little bit of Reddit. On top you can see, again, if you're not familiar, there's what's known as subreddits, sports, boxing, The Witcher, the DC Cinematic. Subreddits I particularly like to use are New York events because I'm a hopeless fan. It's horrible. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is just a great show. About me on Reddit. I've been doing Reddit for almost 10 years, almost 9 million karma coins. I've got some pretty high posts. I'm most known on Reddit as the karma whore, but I always say that I'm not a whore, I do it for free. The time I spend on Reddit for B2B, about 45 to 60 minutes a day, so it is something that takes a bit of a chunk of time out of the day. For not B2B, far too long. Far too long on Reddit, that's my wife, that's my kid, or on the phone like that. The nitty-gritty of how to do B2B marketing with Reddit. First of all, create personas. If you have, for instance, my product, we work on 2 different aspects. We work on DevOps and we work on databases. Like I said, I create one persona for each aspect of the business that I'm trying to promote. And I focus just on that when I'm building the subreddits, when I'm building it out. It's very important to use different web browsers. For one persona, I use Chrome. For one persona, I use Edge. Mainly because Reddit is very smart. They can know when you're trying to do vote manipulation. They can know when you're trying to astroturf. They can know when you're trying to play around. So if you have 2 different browsers, it helps you get around that. Like I said, for each persona, choose the right subreddits. Don't overlap. Comment early. Engage your posts using the V word. If you want to go viral, you gotta be there first, right? You gotta sort by new. You gotta be one of the first posters. You gotta be there. And then when you get responses, talk back, create engagement, create the conversation, and build your reputation. Something I like to do, a little tip, you are using AI, I use Perplexity, you want to use GPT or Claude, whatever, I use Perplexity, but obviously you can't just copy paste, I edit, I make it human, I make some spelling mistakes to show, I'm typing quickly between projects, or I remove the M dashes because everyone hates M dashes, it's a giveaway. But be human, another little thing I do, I never use a period at the end of a sentence. Here also. It's just one of those little quirks that shows that I'm a human being.
How many of you raise your hand if you use Reddit on a for personal browser? Okay. And how many use it for B2B marketing? Okay.
Great. Thanks. Now, this is an example of the multi-Reddit which I created for our database persona. You can see the communities, database, Postgres, SQL Server, database development, all right? This was created early yesterday morning, so you can see there's like 4 hours ago, 40 minutes ago, 2 hours ago, and then 15 hours in a day ago. Why? Because this is early in the morning Israel time, and people on Reddit are posting on American time or UK time. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is how to time your Reddit. Now we've got some do's and don'ts. The first thing is don't. Don't be a bot. When you sign up to Reddit, they give you a generic username. It's usually 2 words and then a 4-digit number or a 2-digit number. It's a natural giveaway that you're not a natural user or you're just lazy. You want something unique, you want something that shows, yeah, I put some effort into this, I'm a natural human being. If you have target subreddits, don't immediately post them right away because post history is a thing. If people look, okay, this account was created yesterday and now they're posting in the database subreddit, that means, okay, something's a bit fishy here. First of all, a lot of these tech subreddits have filters where you need to be active a certain amount of time, you need to have a certain amount of karma score. So if you try to post right away, they're going to ban you and say, okay, this is just he's talking about product. So talk, post, engage, comment in different subreddits. Like I said, I love New York Mets, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. There's a bunch of different text subreddits with very low karma submission requirements. Post a picture in our pics, just engage, build yourself up a bit before you start going into the B2B. Don't post constantly, pick a time zone. Like I said, if you're doing this in Israeli time, the best thing to do, I found, is to position yourself as someone who's based in the UK, for instance. You can start posting at 10, 11 a.m. here until 6, 7 p.m. Means you're good enough to catch a lot of the American market, you're good enough to catch the entire UK, EU market, and it doesn't position you as Israeli, which a lot of us are, and unfortunately creates a lot of negative feedback today. Finally, don't affiliate yourself with your product. Don't say, oh yeah, I work at. Don't say, oh yeah, I'm the owner at. I've created this app. It always receives negative feedback. Some things that you should do, like I said, unrelated subreddits, be consistent. Don't spread yourself out. It's a signature of bots where they will post in 100 different subreddits over 10 minutes, and everyone knows, yeah, human beings can't do that. So if you're gonna post, again, post, wait 5 minutes, post somewhere else, wait 20 minutes, post somewhere else, go back, comment, reply to someone, and you are a human, act like a human. And finally, be a member of the community. You're not here to teach. You are a tech employee, this is your persona. I work at an enterprise, I work at a Fortune 500, and part of my tech stack is I use this product which I'm trying to sell. Here is how we use it successfully. I'm sharing this with you as someone in the trenches with you, so you can see how we use it and how we make it done. This is a prompt I use on Perplexity. It's very long, we're not going to do it now. We're going to share the presentation later, you can go into it. Note that they require some individual tweaking for your individual product. The basics are keep responses short and simple. Just like the prompt is very long, you want the responses to be short. AI loves lists, humans hate lists. Don't do that. Like I said before, don't teach or talk, and don't mention your brand unless it's 1,000,000% relevant. I don't know how many zeros there are, 1 million, 100 million. All right, make sure you're only mentioning your product if it fits the comment, if it fits the post, if it says, okay, yeah, I've got something here that makes sense for me to pitch my product, or else you're shoving it in and it just creates noise and chaos. But here's an example of something that we did that is semi-tech related. The first comment is mine. What are the biggest red flags in DevOps interview? This response is entirely AI created. I could have written it by myself, but AI did it quicker. And it's the top comment. We've created engagement. And what this does is it builds me as someone who's been there, someone who's done that, someone who's been through the fire, someone who's run the challenges, knows what they're talking about, and sharing the frustration of what it means. What's the biggest red flag? We need a DevOps. If anyone's familiar with DevOps, we need a DevOps. It's not a thing, but that's what companies are hiring. And this basically says, yeah, this poster knows what we're talking about. Now, when it comes to measurable results, there's a challenge here. This is passive marketing. we're not using URLs. We're not using tracking tags. We're not saying go to www.dbmaestro.com to check out your database release automation platform. What you're doing is you're saying, I use DB Maestro for XYZ, here's why it'll work for you. What this means is it's very hard to track. What we can do is we can look at some of the sources, referrals, direct traffic, organic search. These are things that we can see that year over year, they've all increased since we started doing Reddit in about the February or March this year. You can't say for 100% that these extra 240 people that came from organic search are people that saw us on Reddit and decided to search. I can't tell you that these extra 170 people, 190 people that came from direct traffic saw me on Reddit and went to dbmaestro.com to check it out. But I can tell you that there is an increase since we started doing this. So correlation is not causation. You need to take this with a grain of salt, but you can kind of see if your message is working or not working. You can sort of measure the impact. So some things to keep in mind, like I said, Reddit is where people go to listen to the experts, especially when they want to avoid AI, which is a bit ironic because that's what we're doing, but try it anyway, it'll work. By being the first to respond, you increase your chances of becoming viral, all right, becoming noticed, of building your reputation as someone who is there to be listened to. Use your reputation only when the time is right. Don't spread your product at every opportunity. Use it only when it fits the situation. And finally, while this is active marketing, you're sitting there, like I said, 45, 60 minutes a day, you're responding, you're posting. Unfortunately, it's passive in nature, it's hard to measure, it's hard to tell you what's working, what's not, but we do it anyway. Before we go, I'm going to take advantage of the audience I have here. I have a friend who's been looking for a marketing job for a couple months. The market sucks, we all know this. If anybody is hiring or knows somebody who's hiring, please reach out to me.
Okay, one question. Okay.
Real quick, what if my target persona are not already? Like I understand the AEO part, but if they are not like none of that is that
Then don't do it. If they're not even, why spend an hour a day on someone they're not going to read? It's not there for you. It can, but again, not as much. If you're just one person posting about something, where are you going to post if they're not there? You need to look for an audience, a relevant audience, which you might not find, and then you need to make that relevant audience find something relevant for you to post. Anyone else?
Hi, my question is, I know all of the don'ts and, not a great presentation on that, but what about the when to post? Once a month? At some point?
So like I said, I do about 45 to 60 minutes a day. All right, I've got a bunch of different subreddits, which again, 2 personas. I've got about between 8 to 10 to 12 subreddits for each persona. So I spend the time, my persona is I'm a tech worker in the UK. All right, obviously, sometimes that requires that you change the spelling. All right, but I work from, 10 to 4 UK time is the time where I'm there, when I'm not coding, when I'm not working, when I'm not doing DevOps. I take some time to go onto Reddit, all right? And I do that, maybe I'll skip a day, maybe one day I'll spend more time. But again, you have to be active at this. This isn't this kind of thing that you can just say, I'll do it once a day, once a week, once everything. You need to be active and engage on it. Follow up. What was that? When it's relevant, if I'm on the database subreddit and someone's talking about, I just did a manual database release and I dropped the table. I say, okay, DB Maestro has permissions and active solutions that can prevent you from dropping the table. We use it, it's great, it's saved our bacon more than once. All right? If someone is saying, which database do you use? I won't jump in and say, doesn't care what database you use, just make sure you use DB Maestro. That's shoehorning it into it, really bang on the head with that.
Okay, thank you all for sticking around. Thank you for our amazing speakers. They did an amazing job. take the cans of soda and the straws and the envy tops, and we'll see you at the next event. Thank you very much.